Listen to the echo that remains. The wind today carries a scent of damp earth and old metal. It whispers through the hills of the old bell, my home, where shattered bells rest upon moss-covered stones. Each fragment tells a story, but not in words. You must be still, very still, and listen. I hold a piece of such a bell. It is broken, yes, it cannot ring. But it is not silent. It helps me hear the echoes of time, the stories that have settled like dust on the forgotten paths of the world. I am Asterion. Some call me the keeper of memories. I walk the old roads, not in search of what is new, but of what has been left behind. The stories I seek are not of great battles or crowned kings. They are the quiet tales. The memory of a child's first step on a stone long since turned to dust. The feeling of a promised return that never came, lingering in a doorway that no longer stands. These are the echoes I collect. Today, I want to share a memory I found carried on a cold draft from the north. A story of a solitary mapmaker. His name is lost, like the ink on his oldest charts. He lived in a stone tower overlooking a sea that has since retreated, leaving behind a desert of salt and bone. He did not map kingdoms or trade routes. He mapped the silences. He would sit for days, watching a single patch of land. He noted where the wind hesitated before changing direction. He drew the precise shape of a shadow as it stretched from a twisted tree at dusk. He charted the paths of forgotten streams by the type of moss that grew in their dry beds. His maps were not for travelers seeking a destination, but for souls seeking to understand the journey. He believed that every place held a memory, and that memory had a shape, a weight. A field where lovers once met held a warmth that lingered even in winter. A cliff, where a difficult choice was made, held a certain tension in the air. His work was to give form to these invisible geographies. People in the nearby villages thought him mad. They saw him standing for hours, staring at a rock, or running his hand over the bark of an ancient oak. They did not see what he saw. They did not hear the silent hum of the land's own memory. One day, a young traveler, lost and weary, stumbled upon his tower. The traveler carried maps of the known world, filled with cities and roads, but none of them had saved him from losing his way. The old mapmaker offered him water and a place to rest. He did not speak much. He simply unrolled one of his own maps on the heavy wooden table. The traveler looked at the strange chart. There were no names, no symbols he recognized. Only swirling lines, soft shadings, and delicate notes written in a script that looked more like music than letters. "What is this?" the traveler asked. "It shows no roads." The old man smiled, a slow, gentle curving of his lips. "It does not show you where to go," he replied, his voice like stones rubbing together. "It shows you where you are." He pointed to a small, intricate spiral on the parchment. "This," he said, "is the echo of the wind's confusion in this very valley. It spins here because two opposing memories meet, one of joy, one of sorrow. That is why travelers get lost. They are caught between two feelings and forget their own path." The traveler stayed with the mapmaker for a season. He learned to see the world not as a series of destinations, but as a tapestry of moments. He learned to feel the texture of the air, to read the story in a cracked stone, to understand the language of shadows. He stopped looking at his own maps. Instead, he started to draw his own, charting not the physical world, but the landscape of his own heart. He mapped his own hesitations, his moments of clarity, the silent spaces between his thoughts. When the time came for him to leave, he did not ask for directions. He simply thanked the old man. As he walked away, he looked back at the tower one last time. He saw the mapmaker standing at the window, not watching him, but observing the way the light fell on the path he had just taken, already committing the echo of his departure to memory. The mapmaker was never seen again. His tower crumbled, and the sea's salt claimed the stones. But his maps, they were not lost. They were carried away by the wind, becoming part of the silences they once charted. Sometimes, when you are truly lost, when all roads seem to vanish, you might feel a strange sense of direction, a sudden knowing. That is one of his maps, whispering its secrets to you. An echo of a man who knew that the most important journeys are not across land, but within the soul. Like that mapmaker, I listen. My bell does not ring with a clang of bronze. It resonates with the stories that have no voice. The wind that blows through its crack carries the sigh of a lonely watchman on a forgotten wall. The moss that grows in its crevices holds the memory of rain that fell on a world different from our own. Consider the objects you hold dear, a worn coin, a faded photograph, a simple wooden chair. Do not just look at them. Be still. Listen. What stories do they hold? What journeys have they witnessed? Each scratch, each faded spot, is a word in a language older than speech. They are keepers of memories, just like my broken bell. Time is not a river that flows in one direction. It is an ocean, and we are but drops within it. The past is not gone. It is simply quiet. It settles in the corners of the world, in the grain of wood, in the heart of a stone, waiting for someone to be still enough to hear its echo. The silence that follows a story is as important as the story itself. It is in that quiet space that the echo truly finds you. It is where the memory settles and becomes a part of your own landscape. So now, be still. Let the wind carry the tale of the mapmaker to a quiet place within you. Let his memory become a landmark on your own inner map. The sun is setting on the hills of the old bell. The long shadows are stretching, drawing their own silent maps upon the land. The shattered bells are cooling, their metal holding the last warmth of the day. Soon, they will speak to the stars. Another night of listening begins. The world is full of echoes, if only we learn to be quiet enough to hear them. Listen, they are all around you. Thank you for sharing this silence with me. Follow the path of echoes, and you will never be truly lost.